Hello out there, James here. I want to make a video that really come across my mind. It's gonna be the most introvert, interesting, of learning experience. By and the title is going to be really interesting. What I'm about to tell you. One of the things that most people in everyday walk in human life, most people never think about this. It is called transitioning yourself to a different and knowing your atmosphere, your environment, and people perception. Us people who assume things about people because they've been in certain atmospheres. I'm about to go there and give you some testimony about myself. A short testimony, not gonna be very long. When I when I, as I was growing up, where I was born and I was raised, like a working class, lower working class family. My mom raised me as a single parent. My dad, like most people, your parents didn't work out in their younger years when they had me, and both of my parents' background, they were always hard working class of people. My dad, he lived in Cleveland. When he was alive, he's deceased with my grandparents, and then my mom, she lived in Youngstown, Ohio, where her parents, she's still in Atlanta living, and her parents are deceased as well. The difference was between my father's parents and my mother's parents that they came from two separate religions. They two separate denominations under the same previous concept. My mother was raised Catholic. My grandparents raised my aunts and uncle on my mom's side Catholic. My dad's side was raised Baptist in holiness. The difference between my mother and I stayed with my mom. I used to go visit my dad. When so, when I was going to school in Youngstown, Ohio, I was as far as my spiritual life, I was in the mostly Catholic environment. Now, in a Catholic environment, it's a mixed environment of different cultures. Not only is it's a mixture of different cultures, it's a certain status that is, and so you learn more about other people's culture and their lifestyle and their habits and their ways than anything else before you know about myself. When I would go to my dad's side of the family, traditionally Black Baptists, some were Pentecostal. They were raised in a separate environment where the part of Cleveland that was predominantly African American or Black. My mom was raised with Black and white and other people. So that's how my journey began. So I was raised in an environment. So when you raised in a mixed environment with all different culture, mostly a white culture, your perception, how you grow, transition in your early years. And when you round the one environment, where my mom raised me, she moved me. We lived in the inner city. I had a grandmother in the projects, and moved to the city. And so as my mother job paid, she transitioned me from, because I went to a school in the inner city, and it was all predominantly Black. My elementary school, white. I go to another side of town, it's mixed with different people. Not only that it was mixed, in my 7th and 8th grade year, you had a lot of some racial tensions among students back at that time. And then when I got to high school, I went back into an all Black environment again. Part of my high school years. And it was an inner city school, like an inner city high school. You see in in any major city to small mid modern city. What's unique and difference being an individual that has experienced this, it causes you not to stay in one transition. You get to learn and adapt to different atmospheres and different environments. A, a lot of black folk, a lot of black people, some of us have this perception because some of us who knew had relatives that was raised in a predominantly black environment, you can testimony to this. It's different when you're not really used to being around the other people's environment. This association you only see it from the pandemic point of view. When you in a predominantly white environment, a person's environment, in their environment, you see their panoramic view. In the atmosphere, you pick up their personality, you pick up their demeanor, you pick up everything. Even though that some of the people in that environment may not be prejudiced, may not be racist, but they don't know how to take in black people. I've run across individuals like this. I was around individuals like this, and you can tell that then you have a certain segment of people that just love people, whether regardless of race, color, creed. They don't see people, and very seldom you see it among any group of people, particularly, with some black people and mostly white people. You very seldom see this, that some people really love people because they haven't transitioned to understand. So when you've been in the suburbs, because I have a friend of mine that his parents raised, who was black, he was raised into an environment, and most of his friends were mostly white. So he picked up, and his parents was like a working class mom, dad in the household, and at the same time, their neighbors were white. We went to a predominantly white school, and so you're gonna have predominantly white friends. So and you become, after a while, you become a different person, and you're not really around a lot of your own people. So you pick up the personality of the people, whatever environment. If you're in the suburbs, in the most wealthiest suburb or near wealthiest suburb, you have a certain perception than someone who lives in the city. And this is from what I've observed. When I go around, so as my income and my situation take me back into a lower environment, you see a whole different atmosphere of people. And this is the truth. And they have a certain perception, and the wider way you express yourself, because you come out of that environment where it's well-to-do, well-spoken people, they have a certain persona, certain perception. They tend to, they view you as one of them because the way you talk, the way you articulate your speech, the way you express yourself, and they can let down their guard, and some people of them can be way too comfortable. And this is what I've learned. With some people who are white, you become their family when they really love you as an individual. But with some white people, you just their black friend. What is the difference? Because by the things that you say, and when you've been around people long enough, and anybody can give a testimony to this, when you be around any group of people for a certain amount of time, they can only display what their true nature is. Sooner or later, their true nature is going to show. And really, that's the God's honest truth. And so you learn to adapt whatever your environment is when you're African American. And so it's funny how you meet, even with people that come from other cultures, when they see black, they see something on TV. They see the rap videos and how the way you express yourself, and it's a whole different type of Condra is a whole different type of it's a whole different type of personality. It's a whole different type of demeanor. And then you got some of these people who see that they don't think you. And this is what their perception is. You're uneducated. You're low IQ. You're these come from a wild people because they're not. You can tell by their parents' background and things like that. They can't communicate too well. Communication is a big thing with other people, and so they see things on TV. They see things on the news where a person who's black. I mean, not other people don't commit crimes and things like that, or what the atmosphere is. They see how the way people is, how that environment they express themselves a certain way. Oh man, these people are like something out of they never seen before, and they wild. And then the perception is among some people is like, you be careful going around these people because they have a wild nature. This is the truth. So you get this blowback and you get this kind of perception. I mean, they don't know how. Very few people out of their nation, their nationality, actually sit back and see you as an individual. And then some people out of every nation sees you as a person and as a respectable person. But when you come from a certain population of people, a certain percentage of their population of people, looking at your population of people, you have no power. You have no economic power. You're in poverty. So poverty produce all these different stereotypes, criminality, and the mindset, wildness. So your criminality, you're going to rob me, you're going to beat me, you're going to jump on me because you're illiterate, you're low income, you're feeble-minded. So the supremacy of the education system taught this. It taught classism among other people. And so the very people that they go around, they think when you're African American, they think that you come from these people that don't have high education, no motivation skills, and you're lazy. You complain, you're a whiner, you're a complainer, and you're lazy, and you're giving things and perception. And that the environment that you're in, you don't want to pick yourself up by the bootstraps. This is what some of them say, but because the image saying why? Because there's some people might say, why are these people in this condition? Then their version saying, well, they don't want to apply themselves, but what they forget to tell the people who come from other nations that these people at one time had establishes business, education, economics, but they don't see the whole side of the picture. How there were one time African Americans had businesses. They and came from straight stock family like any other family that come into this country, where the grandmas, the great granddads worked the fields, the railroad yards, the labor industry jobs, making 20-30 cents lesser than their white counterparts, and at the same time they putting these kids, making sure their kids go to school, believing that they had dreamed that they would go to college, and some black families make it to that top. Now, among the community people, you got some people who are comfortable in the background because the government want to keep the vast majority of people that's been in generational poverty in poverty, and that's the truth. So people come into this perception that even though there's other people coming from different parts of the world starting out in poverty, because obviously you just don't, very seldom there's a certain segment of people in other nationality transition from the job that they were doing in their home country and able to use the skills that's in their country. And some of them do. They come from different parts of Europe and Asia, and they're able to transition from the job that they were doing in their country into America. And so they put off in high places, and they teach their children to stay away from the lower grade of people. Well, the lower grade of people. what the perception of it is, African Americans are the low graded people. And you might be an African American person or black person or American. Well, my parents wasn't educated. You know, we have, my daddy, my granddaddy fought in the Civil War, and your uncles and everybody, they've been college educated. Some were in the military, some even ran small businesses. But the perception of it is that you're still the low bottom people. And so, but there's a segment of people know that it's something different unless you carry the persona of the suburbs of the transit, and this is what I call the transitioning. And even though you start out poor, some people want you to cut off the poor, because if you cut off the poor environment and they look in your background, they don't want to be associated with that. This is where perception and understanding come from. And so they feel that there was a stigma that most African Americans were slow, that they were feeble-minded, and some even go by thinking that a good percentage of them were retarded. I use that terminology, and then we do that on one another. In the way we express ourselves, and clearly we see that we don't take the time out to really see the uniqueness, what makes us as black men and black women. And some of these other folks who are in position of power don't want us to develop those gifts. And then if the people that do, they want to use your gift as an African American person and take whatever your great grandma, your great grandfather, and say that they were responsible for yourself, and steal your idea. And are you willing to sell out your idea, sell out your point? So give us your birthright, give us your birthright, give us your gift, give us your power, because in the perception doesn't know, these still are, and history will still show that African Americans, despite some have made the contribution, that it's only a small percentage. But when you go to Washington D.C., it's a lie. And they keep you thinking that the African American person, the black person, haven't transitioned, and that's not in every case. It's that some was able to transition to the next level, but now we are in a time that some are able to transition to the next level and be at the equal playing field. And this is what comes down to the environment when African Americans say they want to come up with their wealth, because there's a certain perception of people that want to keep them at the way that they are. And even though that, just like any other people, you can have a college degree, you can end up just like any other person out there in the streets, homeless. I've seen black people just as well as other people out there in the streets with a college degree, with three degrees, and seeing a black woman and black men who were smart. You could tell they were articulate and they were very intelligent, swift to get that degree. And I can tell just by what type of atmosphere that they came from, what type of environment that they from, and look past their skin color, look past certain things, and see the uniqueness in our people. And some of our people are geared to see some of us, not all of us, are geared the same way like the other nations, that we are low hanging fruit. We'll never get. There'll be a low totem pole. If you take the most low totem pole people in Europe, that's black people in America. And with other nations that come, even people that they teach people that with the same complexion, that despite every move that African Americans have made since the time that they transitioned with their gifts, and the Most High has transitioned with their talent, and the Most High has raised them up in different, and even as a certain segment, but the vast majority, but when it came to politics, like they did in the time, it did with the people in the Bible, will use your gift, but you will not get the credit for anything because you're basically a low-hanging fruit. So there's a certain segment of black people in America that haven't sold out, and they understand the concept because it was taught by the Most High through their ancestors. This is what they're going to do. They're going to use your gift, but they're going to give credit to themselves. And once you figure this out, and once you figure and give all your talents and all what your inner gift says, then they can. If you invent something, they're gonna take credit for it. They're gonna white you out in history. They're doing this right now, in the land of the continent of Africa, and probably doing in the Caribbean islands. And even though you are the people that of the pigment sensation, we want to replace you, and just like they did when the African was pushed away from the lands, they come south, and you see what ancient Egypt and some of them other North African countries is. You see a different demographic of people that came in a certain amount of time, and that's where they are today. Well, this is what they're trying to do, the same thing in America. And only you'll learn this is a small segment of us. And so whatever there's black people on the planet, they're being shunned to the side, pushed out the atmosphere, like the atmosphere. People come into their country, come into their island, on their country, making an assumption these people ain't too bright. These people are servants. They're no different than the wildlife is in the wood. I'm telling you, and they got this mindset, and this mindset has transitioned to different nationalities. Not everybody see people as equal. We all human. Individually, there might be individuals that think that we're all human. But some individuals, some of these nationalities, don't want to be don't want their people mixing in with those people. Let's progress off those people. We ain't supposed to mix in with those people. Let's progress off of them because they're the lower intelligence of people. And so the Most High God shows that that's a lie. Any individual, even the ones you think is the lower class people, have some sense of intelligence to know what's going on. But just because you speak a different language, you're talking, and you can be talking English but speaking in a different code, somebody is going to catch on what's going on. You can't be around a group of people on any part of the planet and think that you smarter than them. But see, in most westernized countries, and starting with here, that's the way the mindset is. Even among our own citizens in this country. And sometimes some people don't say it to you, but they display it to you. They display it with their personality. They display it with their actions. They display it the way how they treat you. That's what they do. When they do, like, these are the low-hanging criminality people. Just look at this color at their skin. Look at the texture of their hair. Look at them. Their criminality. I don't want my kids being a part of that. I don't want my bloodline being part of that. This is a reality, people. This is what I've learned over the period of time. And despite a person like myself transitioning and being in different atmospheres, different environments, I learned something too. When I talk among individuals from different other nations and nationality, they seem to be shocked because I don't know what was told to them about our people. But I said, no, some of us are very intelligent. Don't let the TV and what that big boob tube show you. Some of them are particularly intelligent, and we're just as human as anybody else. But stereotyping leads the belief in small talk leads them. So you believe it. So when you go around the people, you believe the people who speak in the same language that you do, come from the same environment that you do, or someone come from the same environment, and you happen to see, and you sitting in your bar, or you're sitting in your house, and you see something going on, and you see something happen to a particular group of people, and the perception goes on in the household, and sometimes the kids may be watching. Some may question why, because some of the parents carry the inner bigotry. Some of them do. And they'll tell you, people, and then the young people will say, no, people are people, mom. People are people, dad. People, uncle, aunt, friend, neighbor, whatever. But when you get young people, when people get to a certain generation, they get a certain mindset. And it's not that it can be changed. It takes the Most High to change some time ago. And if you're a younger person, listen to this, and you wasn't raised, and that's not in your spirit, you're the first. Because he's going to use you to transition to see other people should have the equality as far as life, as far as success, as far as in every arena than anybody else. But see, some people don't want that to happen because they want to keep the reason why they don't want to do that, young people, is because they want the perception. That's why I said some people would not let their racist mentality go unless the Most High changed God, who we call God, will change their perception, the assumption, and it's and some people it's so deep in their spirit it ain't funny. And sometimes when people is uncomfortable with it, it comes out in a different way. It could be coming out with a different joke. I have been around people that could be joking around about, and they find out that you're a certain nationality, even if you look like European looking. There's a certain demographic of graded people that they automatically they say, yeah, we know that these people are from Poland or Ireland or Italy or something like that. They are one. There's certain people, or they're of the certain faith, like the Jewish faith, the Orthodox faith, and it's always this perception, and so they built up a stereotype. See, this America, even though we have many nations coming with a certain stereotype, it's always been in this land. It's always been perception in this land. And someone said we all equal. Maybe individually in your household you might see equal, but the rest of your friends and neighbors, no. The people you grew up with, sometimes the people you grew up with, no. And they're not gonna tell you this because they what you look like them, they look like you. You come from the same environment. Is that they're coming from the same environment, and when they hear something happen and they become a victim of crime, and unfortunately somebody, they didn't do it out as a race, but it's someone that come out of the race that victimized them, and it puts a perception. I don't want to be around these people. They're too wild. They're criminality and things like that. But yet, don't bring them to my neighborhood. And if they ain't in the neighborhood, why are they in the neighborhood? The perception is already painted. It's already been painted. Perception of people. So that's why, during this time, with the Black Lives Matter movement going on, brought up the discussion about race. And I know it's good to talk about race with some people that choose to want to talk about race. But no matter how much you talk about race, and no matter how much it's been talked about it for the last 30, 40, the spirit of it hasn't changed. The spirit of it hasn't changed with people who are in the neighborhood, who some people still carry. The spirit of it haven't changed if they own the business. If you walk into the spirit haven't changed if they being a law enforcement. The spirit haven't changed if they're sitting if they're attorney, or they're sitting on the bench as a judge. The spirit of racism haven't changed. And the only one's going to be able to, and I know people don't want to believe this, is when the day Yeshua, Jesus, come back into the earth. That's when racism is going to be really, realistically eradicated. That's the only way the perception of other people is going to be eradicated. That's the only way. We can keep talking about this till we grow old and elderly, but and die off. Because another generation, somebody in that next generation is going to put it on the next generation to keep being association with these group of people and with these group of people. And we're going to talk that these group of people don't think that we don't know about what the perception that they do, because it comes out in subtle ways. You learn this when you transition, when you get older in life. I remember one time being in the church. I fellowship with different people, and when you take this walk of life, when you accept the Lord Jesus Christ in your life, you figure that everybody, and you figure, well, if they love Jesus, they must think that all people are alike. But you figure out, no, there's a certain segment of people that expect Jesus to look like the image that they see on the client window. And everybody else, well, I'll feel like I'll treat you like my brother when I feel, or my sister when I feel like you do. You have people who are like this. You have people that we could talk about the Lord, but they put up an image. But they put up a fakeness. They put up a profile. They act like you the stuff 1 minute. But when it comes to really coming together as a people, they don't want to come together. They want their Sundays to be separate. They want their Saturday days to be separate. And they really don't treat you as an equal, because they're the supreme race. They don't have to say it. They didn't say that they're the supreme race, but they display it. How do they display it, James? Just by when you be around people a lot of time, it's going to come out in some form or fashion. God will reveal all things that's deep in the heart. He reveals Satan. If he's coming like the angel of light, he'll let you know, and he'll let Satan show you what he's. But sooner or later, Satan will have to give up his true appearance as trying to be the angel of light. That's how people are. Some people are the same way. They transition like that, like. And so I seen this during my walk, being around people who were Christians. I remember one time I was fellowshipping with some people who I was one of the two black people that I was around. And this lady who was African American, we went around fellowship with these people. Right? Now, we supposed to be lovers of Christ, because she talked about the experiences of heaven and the kingdom. It's the perception. But every time, and then, we would have a little house meeting. But me and her and a few other black people showed up, you start seeing this kind of, the atmosphere starting to change, because they're not used to something. They ain't used to people of the opposite color. And I've seen this in the Latino community too. And some people, there's people that have a heart. But just because someone fellowship with you, don't mean they of you. Just because they come to church on Sunday or they don't mean that they love all people. And you're going to see how people really are. They're going, if they want to be in you, and this can, even if you are the same race, this can happen. The same race people can get to, they can start thinking that they're better than you because you don't drive a certain car, dress a certain way, certain clothes. So this can go that way too. But I'm using this as an example. Now, we supposed to be all loving Jesus Christ, the one who died for our sins. We supposed to be all loving Jesus Christ, but when it comes to fellowshipping, when we go on the streets together, there's always was an excuse. Right now, and then some people don't even tell you that they do something until they already done it. I've seen this in both cases. We don't they don't really want to get with together because they people maybe behind their back they kind of really they're black people and now we supposed to be loving, well we supposed to be on the same team when it comes to that, and they act like God don't see stuff like this. They act like God don't know stuff like that. And this is the reason why they said that Sunday is one of the most segregated days of the week. We all God's people. As long as you stay in your black church, as long as you stay in your white church, as long as you stay in your Hispanic church, as long as you stay in your Asian church, we're all God's people. And that's what the perception of it is. And some people really don't want to integrate and worship and praise with you. And some people really don't want to do it. They don't. But sooner or later something is going to disturb them to the point that they're going to show their true side. I've seen it in this walk. We all people, we all is one, nope, not with everybody in that particular race of people. Just because they go to the church don't mean that. And they heard the men of God tell this time and time how God loves the whole world. That's nice. But when it comes to them, they truly don't believe that. They really don't. Even if the person looks like them telling them this, even if he was up under the Spirit, the Holy Spirit come to them, they still don't see it. Their heart still don't open up to it. That's why people are separate. That's why we're separate and we're segregated. That's why, we choose to worship among our own. I've seen this among different Hispanic groups. They play the color level of the light Hispanic and the dark Hispanic. I've seen this stuff. I was at a church like that. Pastor just come on out with it. Whenever he felt so comfortable. That's why I said, when you've been around people long enough, sooner or later God's going to reveal who they really is. And you're going to be shocked. But don't be shocked. Because when the Most High he goes deep and he reveal everything. Because sometimes he would make the devil talk up out of a person. I'm hitting back with truth. Sometimes people who have that devilishness mentality, they have been that's something that they haven't got out their system. Not everybody is your, and I know this is a message. And when you get around, and some of you are at a certain point in your life, whether you're an adult or you're a teenager, whatever age you're, you're going to find out who people really are in this lifetime. You're going to find out. And I'm not saying to be bitter and hateful and think that all people are like this, but watch. But what I'm saying, watch who's around you. Watch who what they really say and listen. And act and pray. And say, and God, who is this person? Who is this person? Because they seem good. Like in the case where I was at among these people. But it was something hidden that he did come from an atmosphere where it's mostly white. And whatever was taught to them, whatever they was raised with, looking at black people, and it was so in them they can't even. And when people don't understand this, when they don't like this, another segment, I'm gonna teach you something. When people don't like black, they don't even look at you. They'll make like you're not even in existence. They'll look all around you, and they just walk past you, like. And I've seen this. I've been in towns, I've been in churches, I've been in areas. People do see race, and they don't want to see race. They don't want to see you. They want to look past you. And it could be, and you know the difference between someone, you're just a stranger, and some people might look at you, they know you're a stranger, they say hi. And then that it may not be an individual, but the ones that do, they can't stand people. They just don't want to even look at them. I don't believe this person here. And they'll look every other corner around you, and they will lock in on you, on other people, because race don't always have to be directed. Racism don't always have to be directed at you. When you of a certain color, in a certain atmosphere, in a certain environment, it don't always have to come at you with some guy, a guy with his head shaved off, with a Nazi rag, or somebody say white power on the fire. Oh no, oh no, no. That's the radical side of the racist person. That's the radical side. It's the person you don't suspect is like that. This is the truth about race in this country. It go and then then it comes out in certain ways, and then it comes out in a joke. It could be someone say, "Hey, they like that watermelon, like right?" That's how they do. I mean, they like that rap music, and get the and they do. They do because they learn something off of something that they seen in a rap video, and they think that that's part of the rap. That's black people's culture right there. There's some people that do that, and they put you all in the same category. And then when you talk to them, it's like, I wasn't expecting something like that. I wasn't expecting this person to be like that. They do. They do. TV has a whole effect on people. And it comes in from an atmosphere that there's no people that look like them. So they hide back. And so they look at the sport figure, they say, "Oh, I see you, oh, you're a basketball player." Because that's what they see, black people. That's what they see. "Oh, you like that?" "Well, I like that." "Well, that's nice." And you can tell if someone's trying to be. You know. If you black, you know what I'm talking about. So they don't know how to express themselves. But I'm trying to show to other people this is how people express themselves. And it slowly, that racist, that bubbling, insecure, don't know how to look at you way it is about. They really don't know you. And I've been around people like this that when you lower down, they safeguard, and when they find you're not like that, and you let them be what they are, their true nature come out. It after a while they just let it go. They're like, look here, look here, Snoop, Nate Dogg, whatever who you think you is. I mean, they do stuff like that. And it could be cool. They can listen to rap music, but they don't want to be black. They can don't have like black music. Oh, yeah, they like black music, but they're not black. They don't want to be black. They just like the rebellious side of it. I'm dropping some truth. They say, "Ooh, cool. Hey, brother, you gotta smoke some weed." And I mean, and maybe that some people do smoke some weed, but don't present that every black man and black woman smokes some weed. It's because they saw the perception. People believe everything they see on TV. I'm telling you. So if you're a black man and a young black woman who don't conduct themselves, don't be surprised if someone come to you who had never been around your type of people before, slip up and say something like this. This come with time. This wisdom come with age. What I'm talking about. When you be around any group of people, make sure they love you for you. When they love you like their own family, because that's not in them. And you will know, but when you be around them, because sooner or later, the Most High will reveal all things. And then sometimes you may not catch it right away. But sooner or later, and they say, "Oh, he didn't catch it. Oh, he must be kind of slow or something like that." I was in a situation after going to, and this was my, not too long ago, a friend of mine's, Bob. His step grandmother died. So, his mom, stepmom, his dad, and they were going through the grieving process. And these relatives came over. Now, this is another thing. How you know? You know how you be around people. Most people you got certain people, and you can tell that there's some people in this world. Okay, I get it that they're shy. Some people But some people, but one thing we go around a different demographic people, how they show that they're racism, they'll go in the other room. Even if you're the only black person among them. And they don't, and it's like, wow. And see, even though that their family members wasn't like, their immediate family wasn't like this, but the people that was around them, I saw this. They wasn't, and with some perception, even though they were friends for most of their lives, but when they brought something different in the atmosphere, they could contain themselves. Some of them, like I don't believe it, and they go to introduce the, hey, this is so and so, and they'll put on a smile, but knowing that I don't believe that, and that's nice. And then some people are so bold in their ignorance. This guy was so bold. We were sitting at the table. First, he started talking about his life and his business, small business, and then all of a sudden he come out of the woodwork about this. I have a higher intelligence than most white people and black people. He just come out the blue in the middle of a conversation saying like that, like, and then he like, where is this coming from? Why are you going there about the race? But he was revealing himself. So a friend of mine who me and my friend know, and she was African American, she picked up on it. And she was about to really cuss this man out because he was about to go there. He was about to be, and nobody didn't even stand up and say, hey, saw that was coming, like, that's appropriate. Why you gotta make things about race? See, even if you don't have to make things about race, but the people who are racist revealed themselves. And when the ones that got that racism, there's two kind of people gonna show up. It's the ones that don't. These black people making me nervous. I don't like black people. Why they in my presence? And then you got the people, or it's just gonna go, oh, there's black people here. Why? Well, I like Tiger Woods too. And you might not even like him. Dog, like, okay, yeah, he's a good athlete. Oh my God! I think Mom was a kid too, trying to stir something up instead of just being normal. That's why you could tell people like that never been around other people. They display that nature about themselves. I'm still friends with Bob, but now as I get older, I watch what kind of people around, what atmosphere, whether it was in the bad neighborhood or whether it's in a real good neighborhood. Because it has, you really learn this. This take time. This take technique to see things like that. And so, even though you and your first immediate friend may not see race, there's somebody around them. If you go into the environment and you're African American, and you may have a background like me where you was raised in the city, raised in the suburbs, and you understand both atmosphere. But your white friends is not going to be able to understand the atmosphere because they're going to see you as a friend. Their friends are going to see you as the black friend. And then they do little subtle jokes and things like that. Stereotypes, and they'll get around to that stuff. They'll come forth with that stuff. There's a side of people that you need to understand. And then there's the black side of the family that's responding because they have been done by white folks, because of what I'm just telling you now, and they don't want nothing to do with white people. Why you bring this white woman, white man up in here? Because of their past vast experience, and feel like that they're trying it, and then that they think they're gonna steal or they're gonna take some or have some kind of secret. And it's just some people, They're gonna let you know. They may speak to you, and some may not. Then some may say, whatever, But even if I have seen white people go into a white person, and they don't get jumped and beat up and killed or nothing. They just let them come on in. No matter the restaurant, the bar, they don't look at them like, oh my God, here's another white person. Black people, that's not even in our nature to do that. Majority of us, that's not in our nature, because some of us we are God's people. We're just a godly people. We love anybody, and anybody that love and respect us, we love and respect back. Majority of people, wherever you go, whatever little town you go, and you see black people, guarantee you that's in them. That's guarantee you. But in that town, it's gonna be in that town gonna be some people with perception, that see race, and this is what they see. This is who they really are. And that's what their perception are. And sometimes they don't have to have a Confederate flag on their home. And like they said, in the Klan rolls are packed up some way, but the mentality of it, it's going to come in some form or fashion when it comes to race. When it comes to being two people, whether a friendship or a relationship, coming together out of race. And it's going to come from that safe environment. Majority of times come from that safe environment before it comes into the inner city environment. Because if it's in the inner city environment, it's just crime. It's just you just a victim. It has nothing to do with you being raised. It's just that you got the money, you got the opportunities. But when you go into that environment, everybody got the opportunity out there. So most people don't have the time. Now it has to what it appear to be, the perception, the assumption, the weird looks, the weird stares. I can't believe she with that person. Oh, I feel sorry for the children. They don't say that to you. They display it to you. That's the one thing I learned in this life. Not everybody's gonna be the same wherever you go. And the more we live in these times, time will reveal itself through people. But that's how I got to see the other side as an individual who transitioned from the inner city to the suburbs. Even lived in a little short time in a rural area. And I see different atmospheres that they're at. And if you a black man and black woman who've been in those atmospheres, you know what I'm talking about, because you have had that experience. You've had that experience, and you know that even ever you get to a certain age and a certain time in a level field, that you know all people are like that. But you know where even though you articulate in a few people who are not like that love you as a person, but it's the vast majority that segment that could be on your job, it could be in your neighborhood, it could be where you go to the grocery store, where you go to the hospital. There's a certain percentage of people is gonna see you as race. Everybody see race. Everybody see. And the ones who don't like to talk about it, if they don't like to talk about it, it's coming out in some form or fashion. I have been in that atmosphere. I have been among not one, not two people, whole bunch of people. And so when you get a whole bunch of one ethnic group of people, somebody gonna feel boldened to really release how they really are. They're going to show you if they feel that you're not a threatening, low key, low intelligent type of individual, and what their daddy told them, and what their granddaddy and their grandma told them is true. These are low grade people. Not everybody sees us as all as equal. and they don't know that we haven't arrived, or that there's a God that we speak to that it show us along the way that, yeah, this is where this perception came from. Because the history tells what the present is now. That's the truth. That's why I said the only one that can change the whole human race, for racism to go away completely, is going to come from the Most High God through His Son Yeshua, better known as Jesus, because He is the reflector of light, and He's going to shine in every area, even with me, like with you, with anybody else. He shine. When that Holy Spirit shine that light, He's shining all the way through. He's shining the deepest things. The Bible said that He goes deep in the crevices of an individual. And when He loves you and He wants to spare you, He'll tell you this is what your sin is. He'll show it to you. You're like, man, I didn't know I had that in me. Oh my goodness. Because whatever's in you, nature in you, is going to come out. And maybe some people don't catch it, but some people have a stronger discernment than others to catch things like that. But for now, you guys be blessed. You all take care. Until next time, my name is James.